Hi, my name is Odalys, and this is my strength and conditioning video 1, and I will be doing a voiceover today, so this is just me talking. I'm going to start with a warm-up segment, which is the general warm-up exercise or activities, and I'm going to begin with light jogging, as you can see here. The light jogging is meant to do a light jog, which is I recommend doing it on a grass because it's easier on your joints and on your knees, especially if you have problems with that, like if you had past injuries or are prone to those injuries like ACL tears or anything like that. Just running on the grass is just easier on those joints than on concrete. But here I am doing it in a garage floor because it's what I had to make do with the area that I had. But as you can see here, I'm doing it in place. You could go around, but for the sake of the video, I just wanted to do it in place. So you begin with a light jog, and this is meant to raise your heart rate. It loosens your total body and allows your blood vessels to dilate, which thus increases blood flow throughout your body, which that blood will circulate oxygen, and that will make its way to your muscles. That way, when you begin working out, you have that oxygen there. So like I was saying before, you can jog in place if you have a limited area, which is what I did. But jogging, it just increases your tissue and muscle flexibility, so it loosens you up. That way, when you perform these exercises, especially these dynamic exercises, even static exercises, it prepares you for that. And you want to warm up your body because your internal body's cooler since you haven't been working out. So the whole purpose of you starting your warm-up is so you can raise your heart rate, so you can warm up your body. This is why when you see competitions on like a track and like a track or cross country a lot of the time, or even other ones, but specifically I'm talking about this where you have a race coming up and let's say it's going to begin in 30 minutes. That coach will have them, do light jogs to warm up and stay warm, but they'll also tell them to keep on their sweats because even if they're hot because they've been running, you increase your body temperature. He wants them to keep your muscles warm. Keeping your muscles warm will do better for you when you actually do the competition or exercising like this program we're going to be doing today. So it's important to keep your muscles warm. So this is why I'm doing a light jog, because I don't need to be sprinting. You don't want to just begin with the sprint. You have to gradually increase that. So light jogging is a perfect way to include like a total body exercise with all your body. This will allow you to perform those fast and explosive movements later on in your program, which you're going to be seeing later on with weight balls and all these other materials. With this, increasing your body movement, like stretching out your body, because it's just like stretch somewhat of your body, it's you're less likely to pull or tear a muscle, which is why it's so important to warm up your body before you do a strenuous exercise, whether that's stretching, which you should always be stretching, but that's why I'm starting with the jog. And warming up just it helps you with your mental health, I believe, and just have you mental focus, because this is where you can talk yourself up like, okay, I got this. I can do this exercise. I'm going to do this right. And it's just a way to clear your head and to get in that mentality of about to begin a workout, because sometimes you can't just be thrown in there. You got to build yourself up and talk yourself up to it. And this is where it's important to remind the athlete, which I would be coaching myself, like, hey, make sure you keep your arms up. I see a little bit of it going towards my chest area. I want to make sure I keep it straight up. I know it's just a warm up though, a light jog. So that's why I'm not doing complete like motions of my arm, but if I were to be running, I would definitely want to keep that in mind. I want to keep my head up at all times. See, sometimes I look down. I should be looking up. When you are running, you always want to be looking up. I'm looking around and I shouldn't be looking around. So coaching myself back, I'd be like, keep your eyes focused straight ahead, especially when you're running on a track, whether it's a warm up or that's your activity. You want to make sure you're looking forward, because my coach would always tell me that that's how you keep up and stay fast, because when you're looking down, you're not as focused because you're just looking at the front of your feet. You need to keep your eye on where you're going at all times, and then looking any other way, it can cause you to hunch your back. So looking down, it'll cause me to hunch a little bit, and you do not want to be hunched. You want to keep your posture. It's important to keep your posture even when you're not when you're just sitting at a desk. You also need to keep your posture when you're working out too, because you're moving your body, and you want to make sure your posture is good when you're doing that. So as you can see here, I'm doing for this warm up, I'm doing a 7-minute of long jogging, which I'm doing the whole 7 minutes here. But in case you get tired of some scenery, since I am in the garage, you could always turn. So I know the outside is to my left, so I could always turn the other way. Like when you're running in place, you don't have to just face one wall. Sometimes when you do things in place, you can turn complete like a whole circle. So I would turn, after a couple minutes, like I rotate every 2 minutes, for example, and face the other way. And then after 2 minutes, face the other way if I really wanted to. I noticed that I wasn't wearing a watch, but I would highly recommend wearing a watch during your exercise and to keep your time. Just keep your time. That way you know where you're at and you don't have to keep checking your phone. Getting on your phone makes you distracted, and it makes you pause your exercise. Like just having a watch, it's just easy access to have there. And also a lot of with technology nowadays with watches, it reads your heart rate a lot, so it's really important to have that. And you're gonna see on there, oh, I'm trying to raise my heart rate. Well, yeah, because you're warming up your body, you're doing a jog. At this point, it's already been a couple minutes that I've been doing this, so I can see myself getting a little tired, but warm-ups are very important, and you still can break a sweat with a warm-up. But if you do regular jog, it can cause you to lose weight because this is like a cardio workout. But of course, this is just a warm-up. But look, it looks like I just completed this one. So my heart's already beating faster, and I am already warmed up. So now I'm going to continue on with the general warm-up and do the walking knee hugs, where you're just going to be walking forward. And as you walk, you're going to lift your knee, opposite knees, but one at a time. You're going to lift your knee all the way up to your chest, and you're going to hug it. Kind of like when you hug somebody, you're going to hug your knee up to your chest. This just stretches out your legs. And this is important because you're able to stretch those leg muscles for later on in your exercise, like your hamstring area. And it's really important that we stretch out, that this warm-up entails stretching out our body, because with these exercises, we're going to be doing total body workouts where it's going to be doing our upper body and lower body. So we have to make sure we get to all of that. Then I'm going to go into my arm circles, which is the last part of my general exercise. So I'm going to be doing, the walking knee hugs. Sorry, I did it 10 times for each leg. So one repetition was doing for each one. And then arm circles, I'm going to do it clockwise and counterclockwise. I believe I started with clockwise in this one specifically, and you want to do 10 rotations in each direction simultaneously. And I would do 2 sets of 10 rotations from that. And then I turned into the specific warm-up exercise. So the specific warm-up exercise should be movements that mimic the activity the athlete is going to be involved in. That's going to activate those muscles that are essential to the workout program. So this is why I'm starting with the lunges right now, as you can see here. And now I'm going into burpees. So like I said, I was starting with burpees now, and it's important that when you do burpees that you start with lunges or push-ups beforehand, because this burpee, I'm doing a full burpee where you jump up, you squat down, bring your arms down, go into push-up position, you do a push-up, and then you repeat back up. So a burpee can put a lot of stress on your ankles, your knees, and your wrists. That's why make sure that you have to keep in proper position when you do those, like in a proper push-up position, because you don't want to strain any of those areas. And a burpee is a complex workout. So if you're a beginner, it's okay to do less repetitions and take breaks, because it's important for you to do the workout correctly rather you try to get in so many repetitions. So it's okay to slow down your pace. And then I'm going to go into the side lunges and switching sides just to, continue that warm up. Side lunges are really good with stretching out the side of your legs. I think they're harder than doing the regular forward lunges that we did earlier. And with the burpees, we did 7 burpees. And with these side lunges, we'll be doing 2 sets of 4 lunges because you have to go slow and down. But I know I did more repetitions here for the sake of the video. Okay, and now we're beginning to start our main program now that we finished our warm-up. We're going to start with modality 1, which is the Swiss ball exercise. We'll be utilizing a Swiss ball in here. I will be coaching. This is my sister. She volunteered. So a Swiss ball is determined, this one's a little smaller, but it's all I had. But a Swiss ball is determined by the patient's or by the athlete's height. I learned this from my kinesiology therapeutic modalities class, or muscular rehabilitation class. And with the Swiss ball, I will be doing upper body and lower body. I'm going to begin with the upper body, which is the Swiss ball decline push-up with feet on the Swiss ball. You want to put your feet, she should have gotten the ball a little bit more down. You want to place, but I know she's putting it for more of a beginner. That's what she put it on her tibia, but it should be where your toes are the ones keeping you stabilized on the ball. But you have to have this is really hard if you don't have a lot of upper body strength. And you have to place foot on the football in a decline push-up position where your foot is at a greater height than the rest of your body. So you're at an incline position. You have to place your hands together in a diamond shape, and that's what she was doing. And then now I'm going to be, and that's 2 sets of 8 repetitions, and then I'll be going to the Swiss ball decline power push-up. So this power push-up, you're going to use power to push yourself off the ground and land your arms in the normal push-up position. So as you go down, you jump up. I don't have much upper body strength, so this is very difficult. So I was trying to do the best that I can, but I would make sure that my back is straight, which looks like I can. My butt's a little up, so I would ask to put that a little bit more down. It's okay to take breaks. You know your body. It's important not to strain yourself, but also it's more important to keep the right technique rather than trying to get as many as you can. So this is why I'm supposed to do 2 sets of 5 repetitions, but of course I'm stopping after 1 because it's a lot of getting used to. But I should be doing more of an incline with my arms in a 90-degree angle. And then I will be going into the other variation with the Swiss ball and for a push-up. My sister will be doing the Swiss ball decline typewriter push-up. So this push-up, it kind of went my variations into like the hardest at the end. So with this one, I'm doing 3 sets of 6 repetitions. So when you do a typewriter push-up, it's like you're mimicking a typewriter, like you're typing, you're going back and forth, back and forth. So what you do is that, like how I'm doing right here, you're going to go and your deltoid's kind of going into almost touching your palm of your hand, or can touch it, but you can't put any weight on it. And you have to go side to side, and your other arm will go straight out. So as you can see here, we're having a difficult time. It is a very hard workout. Sometimes you have to do just one and let yourself take a break. I probably would have, if I didn't have to use the Swiss ball, I would have started as a beginner without the Swiss ball and trying to do it. Obviously, it's harder when you have an incline with the Swiss ball, as you can see here. And then that was the whole upper body one. Now we'll be utilizing the Swiss ball in a lower body exercise. So I chose the Swiss ball hamstring bridges, which personally, my lower body strength and my sister's is stronger than our upper body strength. So this one was definitely a much easier exercise to complete. But the first variation will be the Swiss ball hamstring double leg bridge. So all you're doing is you're utilizing both legs, putting it on the Swiss ball. You're going to put pressure, or you're going to stabilize yourself using the heel of your feet. So you dig that into the ball. You want to make sure it's center. Make sure you're comfortable. Keep your arms on the floor. Make sure your knees are straight. Don't lock your knees, but they need to be straight, not bent. And then you're just going to lift your gluteus maximus off the ground. Yes, perfect. Just like that in slow motions. You don't need to go quick. You need it to burn a little bit. I will be doing 3 sets of 10 repetitions, but in this sake, I will just be doing 1 set. So it's just remember to squeeze your gluteus maximus as you lift off. This will be working out your hamstring, but it's also good for core exercises, which personally I love doing core things and anything with the legs. So yes, this will work that out. And and then we'll be doing the hamstring Swiss ball hamstring single leg bridge. So this one will be a little bit harder. You're going to switch out. First, I'm starting in with the left side. So it's 3 sets of 10 repetitions where you do repetitions for each leg. So lie down with the feet on the ball, same thing, and supporting the legs, and keep one leg on the Swiss ball while keeping the other opposite raised in the air, a couple inches off the other Swiss ball. Here I'm switching over. It's just like the first variation, except you're just doing single leg off of it. This will require more core and keeping your balance, because you see here, I'm trying to keep that leg straight. Not really, it's a little bit moving around, not so bad, but I would try to say, hey, keep your legs still. It shouldn't be moving around too much. You continue raising your gluteus maximus up a little bit. It's like you're creating a bridge with your body, which is why it's called a bridge. Then we're going to be going into the third variation of the lower body. So now you want your legs to be bent. You're going to do a 90-degree angle like I'm showing you here in this video with the Swiss ball. So then place it back. You're going to keep your heels, keep your weight. It's going to be off of that, just like the other variation. Same thing. Make sure you keep your heel there. You don't want to be putting your leg in there. This is how the other variation with the push-ups, that's how it should have been, with not so much your leg touching the Swiss ball, but it's okay. With this one, your knees are going to be bent. This will be a little bit more difficult because you're raising your body off the ground at a higher angle. So you keep your legs at a 90-degree angle. You lift your gluteus maximus up, where you kind of create like a diagonal line, linear line with your body right there. So I do want to raise all my butt up. Want to make sure I don't do too much of a curvature, but I don't want to like not go enough up. So you want to squeeze your glutes as you go up, and you do not want to feel back pain here. It's really important that if you feel back pain, you are not doing this correctly, and you need to retrain yourself on how to do the technique, because you should not experience back pain, and that means you're doing it incorrectly. So it could mean that you're not stabilizing yourself enough with your body, and it's really important that you stop what you're doing and you reevaluate yourself and get that technique right, because this can cause other problems. So at the end, you're not doing anything good for yourself. You're actually making yourself worse when you're doing things incorrectly. So just a indication here is that you should not feel back pain, and if you do, you need to reevaluate. But that is why you have someone there, so they can tell you if you're not doing something right. Now we'll be going into the next exercise modality. So this is going to be resistance training exercise, and I picked using dumbbells over the barbells. I like using dumbbells because they activate a number of different muscles and stimulate muscle growth. And this is supposed to be for training for someone in high school or like college. So I think that the dumbbells are really easy to be found. They help improve both muscle force and flexibility. And you have to be like coordinated and stability to keep it up where you need it and not lose like your balance. So I'm gonna start with the first variation. So the upper body exercise I picked was the dumbbell chest fly exercise in a standing position. So my sister will be doing the double arm dumbbell chest fly. So you're doing front raises where each arm creates a wide arc outline to raise the dumbbells raised above body, with arms in full extension, and doing 3 sets of 6 repetitions. So here I am coaching her like, hey, make sure you stay stabilized. Don't go too fast. You want to feel the gradual going up and then back down. So you're going to make sure you're not going fast, because then going fast defeats the whole purpose of it. You got to have that resistance, gravity of you going up. That's the whole point of this exercise. It's a resistance training exercise. You want to feel that resistance with gravity. That's how you get those muscles going in your biceps and in that area with your arms. This is definitely an upper body exercise, and that you can definitely increase the intensity of this by utilizing like a heavier weight. So the next variation she already started doing was a single arm dumbbell chest fly. So it's like front raises in the standing position, where you'll start with like one side and then you'll alternate in the other side with the right and left arms. So this would be 3 sets of 6 repetitions, just like the other one with the first variation. And then, she's doing it again on this side, but you want to make sure that you keep the other arm. You don't want to be it flying around. You got to keep it on your side. You don't want it to be distracting, and you don't want to lift it up, because the whole point is you're concentrating on the muscles in your arms, the biceps on the right side, and then now she's alternating between the other side. And it's important to be neutral in this. You don't want to be doing that exercise on one arm the entire time and barely work on the other side. You need to keep it equaled and balanced between the exercises between your left and your right arm. Because you don't want, to work out one muscle more than the other. So see, you don't want to go fast. This works out your arm area. It's the hand grip is what I'm talking about. Make sure you don't want to keep your thumb underneath the bell, because that can be painful sometimes. I would keep it outside of it. It's like a pronated grip right here. And I'm just coaching her. And it's important to have someone there, even if it's not something where you necessarily need a spotter for accidents. But sometimes it can be, you don't see the mistakes you're doing except when someone else is there. And it's important just to have a spotter, because they can give you techniques on what to do. So yeah, this is the pronated grip, which I really like doing. And then she was doing the alternating arms, dumbbell chest fly by front rising in standing position, and you alternate between both arms. She finished doing that. So this is now the lower body exercise with the dumbbell squat press is what I chose. So I don't have the press, so I alternated with a stool to symbolize it. It's like off a bench, where the first variation of it is a single leg squat with dumbbell. So then I'm just like squatting forward, keeping the dumbbells at my sides, not swinging them around. I'm staying neutral. I want to make sure my head stays up. I know I paused to talk, but when you're doing this, you don't want to be moving your head around. You want to stay forward. So I'm just telling you, make sure you keep your knees up, and you don't want your other knee touching the ground. That defeats the whole purpose of this resistance training. You want to resist yourself from touching the ground. That's what makes it hurt more when you work out your quads. So when you go down, you want to go down slowly, not too slow, but you definitely don't want to go fast, because it defeats the whole purpose of it being, you want to have resistance. This is resistance training. So you have dumbbells on each side, and you place a single leg on the bench, and you do a squat. So you alternate between both legs. Right here, I'm doing the left leg, and then I will alternate between the right leg. So when you obviously have a dominant side, specifically my dominant side is my right hand side. That means that your right hand, or my right hand and my right leg are the dominant side. So they're naturally stronger and they have more force to do things. So here, my right side is going to be easier than my left side. So I don't know how it works maybe with people who are dexterity, where they could do like both sides, but specifically for me, I am right hand side dominant, so that will be easier for me. And then I'm going to transition into the second variation. So the second variation, I just need one barbell here. I don't want to have both of them, because since I have to I'm doing a wide stance dumbbell squat, which is 3 sets of 10 repetitions, which the other one right before this was 4 sets of 10 repetitions. I forgot to mention that. But with this wide stance one, I don't need both of them, because I don't want them just hanging in my side, since they're going to be bumping into my legs with the way that I'm positioning my legs. This wide stance one, it's going to be wider than my shoulder length, and I just need one, because like I said, the dumbbells, if I just had them on my sides, they'd be in the way too much and like hitting my legs, and it's just, I don't need anything in the way. I need to concentrate on my squats. This is the point of the exercise. So you want to resist yourself, and by going back up, you want to make sure you keep your legs nice and angled. You see it down right there. So if you were to see it from a side view, it would look like you're doing a 90-degree angle. See how my gluteus maximus is going down like at knee level, which is what I want. Remember that when you go back up, never lock your knees. You never want to lock your knees. It's dangerous, very dangerous. That's why they always tell you not to lock your knees. It can also make you feel like you're not breathing and then cause issues with blood flow, and you can pass out, which is something you don't want to do in a gym, especially when you have equipment around you, which is always important. Like I had told you, to have a spotter, even if you're not doing something specifically where you need a spotter. Then I'll be doing, after these dumbbell squats, I'm going to be going into the side kick squat with dumbbell with 3 sets of 15 repetitions. So same thing as the previous repetition, I'm going to be utilizing still that one dumbbell. So this time when I go into a squat, I will do like a kick, pick up my leg on each side, and then keep going. This creates resistance because as I'm doing the squat and I come back up, I have to lift that leg up with it as if I'm already being down. So I'm going even down lower and I have to pick my leg all the way up, which is resistance because it's going against gravity. Okay, now we're going into the next modality. So this modality I chose was the medicine ball exercises, and I had to do an upper and a lower body one. So I'm going to begin with the upper body, which is a 45-degree sit-up with medicine ball exercise. And I was just showing you my weights in the beginning because you can make any of these exercises harder, and another variation of it would be like to add weights to it. I didn't consider that a variation in my video but to make it with the variation I chose, you can make it even harder. So another variation within that variation, you can add weights to it, which will make that harder. So here I'm just telling her to lay in a supine position, but I mean, she's going to be sitting up. She did a whole sit up. I told her she could just stay up, but she wanted to work on her core, so I let her. But I want to stay a couple feet away from my athlete. Make sure they have their knees rotated. Sometimes she picks her leg up, so I would tell her to keep it on the ground, or I would step on her shoes to keep her from raising her feet off the ground. So the upper exercise is a 45-degree sit-up with medicine ball exercise. Intensity can increase additional weight of the medicine ball. The set 1 variation that she's doing is a 45-degree sit-up with overhead passive medicine ball with a partner with outstretched hands, which is why she's doing it. So here you can see that when she comes up, that's when she's doing the overhead pass. I had to correct her and tell her, you need to do the pass as you come up, since she's doing the whole supine to set up position. If she were just doing like a sit-up position, like a 45-degree angle, then it'd be different. But she wanted to do the whole sit-up, so that'd be the right way to do it. Here she's asking me for a hair tie, which unfortunately I do not have an extra of. So always keep your hair up when you do it, because sometimes your hair can get in the way, especially when you're looking at equipment, especially when she's throwing this ball. She don't want to get your hair stuck in your fingers and throwing a ball and pulling your hair. It's very important to keep the right outfit, but she's good. She put her hair back up. The next variation is a 45-degree sit-up with chest pass of the medicine ball to a partner with outstretched hands. So here she's just pushing the ball out from her chest area over to me. And then here I'm telling you that you can add weights over to your arm on your wrist, because this will be stronger, or this will be harder for you and heavier for you to do that chest pass, because it's just more weight on your arms. But the ball is, instead of you getting a heavier ball. So as you can see here, she has the wrist things on here, which can be put on your ankles or your wrists. But in this one specifically, since it's the upper body exercise, we're going to put it on her wrist. They add some weight to it, so that way when she has to do that, this is just like a variation of a variation. And then she's going to be doing, taking those off, because we're going back to the other variation, which I'm not including these weights on there. This is where she's going to be doing the side pass, which is the third variation from, she'll be doing the left, right, and the right side of the medicine ball to a partner. So she has to twist. See, she twisted and then looked forward and then tossed it. She was doing it incorrectly, and I had to tell her, no, that when you go to your side, you twist off in that direction. You're twisting off that side. You don't need to twist, come forward, and then push it off. You need to twist and throw it. Twist and throw. Because that's how you get the side of your arms. You see how here it's harder for her because she's not getting the ball straight to me, which is okay. You do what you can, but it's important that she was doing it correctly, because at first she wasn't. So I had to correct her in that. Like I said, it's always important to have a person there with you, because they can help you see what you can. And she didn't realize she was doing it incorrectly. But now we're going to be going into the lower body exercise with this. So it's a squat with a medicine ball press. So set 1 variation is alternating stepping out squats with a medicine ball. So this is me just stepping out As you can see here, we alternate between like the left and the right side. This will make it hard. When I step back up, make sure not to lock your knees, please, because you can pass out, and especially with equipment around you, this is dangerous. This is why I also mentioned to always have a spotter on you, because they can help point out the techniques that you're doing incorrectly and just be a spotter for you and make sure that you're okay, because locking your knees is very serious and you don't want to be caught doing that, but you just alternate between these. The next variation I'm about to begin will be the alternating split squat with a medicine ball. So the difference, this can be confused with a lunge, but the difference between a lunge and a split squat is that I'm jumping into this, and this is a split squat because I'm splitting my legs. Between these, in a lunge, you step out, whether that is forward, side, backward. But in a split squat, your feet stay in place when you jump. So I was doing the alternating squat jump with medicine ball, and then these will all these variations will be done 3 sets of 10. As you can see here, I do it a little slower because it is a harder exercise than the first one for me, just because of jumping, especially with this medicine ball, because it's a 12-pound medicine ball, so it's pretty heavy. But this is just the split squat, which is the second variation. I have one more variation to go, and just don't confuse lunge with the split squats because they work out different things in your legs. This next variation will be the jump squat with medicine ball. So I was letting go, excuse me, of the ball, but no, I want to keep it in my hand. It's not jumping off with it. It just made me seem easier. So I guess another variation could be you could let go of it and then catch it back in the air. But this one, that could be another variation. So a lot of times variations can have variations within. So if I wanted to, like I was doing in the beginning, I could let it go and then catch it, but I should be just holding onto it, and you're going to be doing a jump squat. So you jump and then land in a squat with the medicine ball, which is increased weight. I could add weights to my ankles, which would make the exercise more intense. All right, and then we're going to be going into our next modality. So the next one, this is number 4 now. This is the one with kettlebell exercises, the one that I chose. So we'll be doing an upper body and a lower body one. I'm just showing you the weights here that you can make it harder and more intense with utilizing these weights, which I really like having because they're easy to add to your workout, and then they make it harder for you. It's just like people who go on a run and they add those like chest weights, those jacket weights. But this one, I'm going to begin with the kettlebell swing as my upper body exercise. So the first variation is a 2-arm kettlebell swing. So your both arms are placed on the kettlebell and like in a pronated position. And you together you swing up the ball with outstretched hands to about eye level. And then you kind of make that same outline up. And then you want to make it back down, kind of like an arc, to go in between the legs, almost touching your gluteus maximus, but not. This is why I do the side angle, so you can see how far back it's going, because when I'm looking facing towards the camera, you can't see that. So I like you guys to see that. So that's why I'm standing in a lateral view of this. It's really important to not lock your knees, as I'm mentioning again. I just have to reiterate it because I just don't want you to be locking in your knees and making yourself pass out. So you're just going to be doing these swings up and then back down, up and back down. This is supposed to be smooth, not jagged, and you don't want to be going too fast. You want to do this slowly, but not too slowly, and controlled. You are in control of that kettlebell swing. They should not be throwing it around. So that would be 4 sets of 6 repetitions, and then another variation, I guess, of this same double arm exercise is that, see, with this, you could just add a heavier kettlebell, but since this is the only weight that I had of a kettlebell, I could just add these wrist weights or ankle weights and use this, and it creates more weight on it. It does make it harder. You'd be surprised. For every pound that you add, you do feel it. Especially when you're not a gym guru like me. But, we do what we can. And it's like I said, it's really easy to have these. So I like having these around. And then this next variation will be the single arm kettlebell swing, which is why I'm showing you without the kettlebell that you're going to be swinging up. Remember that these are slow and not too slow, and controlled motions. You do not want to be going fast. And also you don't want to swing so far up that you let go of it, or it hits you in the face, or it hits your butt when you go back, or your gluteus maximus, I'm sorry. Make sure that these are controlled. And this is going to work out your bicep area. You're going to alternate between the left and the right side, just like in the first variation. And you're going to go up to eye level and then back in between the legs, close to your gluteus maximus, while keeping your arms mid-stretch. You don't want to be bending your arms like, I don't know, 45-degree angles. Like, no, you want to keep them straight. This is why I like using the lateral view. That way you can see that this is just going in slow and controlled movements. I personally like having my other arm behind me because it gets it out of the way instead of just having it on my leg. It keeps it at a position, and I also wanted to stay neutral and balanced, so it's just easier to have it behind my back, which I really recommend for you to do. So this is me just switching into the left side. Just like I was mentioned earlier, you do have a dominant side where you're just naturally stronger on that side and can just have more force. So you can see here that I struggle a little bit with my left side because I am, my right side is my dominant side. So it's much easier for me to do these workouts on the right side, especially when I'm doing single hand, because you're isolating those muscle group of that side of your arm. So they have to work on its own compared to you doing the two arm, and they work together and split the work. So here I am doing another set of these single arm kettlebell swings. I believe here, yes, I added the weights to my arm, which will make it harder. I do like having this, and which will add more weight to it, and it'll be harder. My last variation of the upper body exercise will be my kettlebell alternating swing. So with this one, like how the one previous, you do alternate between your right and left hand side, but the difference between this one is it's a continuous movement, and as it goes under your leg, you're going to switch arms. So you do need to be smooth with your transition and not be quick about loosening up your hand grip, because you're going to switch arms real quick, and you don't want to kind of miss it and then it fall on your feet. So this one, you have to have very controlled movements and be paying attention. You don't want to be distracted here. You can't hear it now, but I do have music playing in the background, and I feel like music is really vital to have during a workout session. If you want, I mean, to each its own, but I find it can really help you focus on something, especially with this exercise, because you're just alternating and you don't want to like slip and then hurt your fingers, because you do have to alternate and switch off in between. So here I am doing the alternating again, but this time I added the wrist/ankle weights, which adds additional weight to it, so it does make it harder to you. So I'm just taking off these weights, and then we're going to be transitioning into the lower body exercise with the kettlebell lunges is the exercise that I will be demonstrating to you today. So this will entail the three variations. The first variation will be the curtsy lunge with the kettlebell. So just like how you do a regular curtsy, as I'm showing you right now, like when you meet somebody, you're going to be mimicking this, which is why it's called, hence the name, curtsy, and parentheses and quotation marks, lunge with kettlebell. So you're being in support by both hands of the kettlebell. If you do need to raise them a little, that's fine, just because like in the leg area. But if you have them there, this should be fine. Just make sure you're not swinging it around so it doesn't bump into you as you're doing these. I would do 4 sets of 10 repetitions, alternating between the left and right side. So see how back and forth I do like the right and then the left. The next variation I am demonstrating to you is the kettlebell tactical lunges. I really enjoy doing these more than the 2-arm kettlebell, where it's like you switch off right underneath yourself, but this one is like the lunges and you switch off underneath. Here I'm going to give you a lateral view of a lunge. Remember that you want to keep in the 90-degree angle and keep your toes on there. You don't want your knee to touch the ground, as I was showing you. You want to have that resistance. That's what makes it a lunge and works out your lower body areas, like your hamstrings, quads. So what you're doing these tactical is kind of like when you were alternating undo your body with the other variation for the upper body, but this time with the tactical, you're going lunges and you're switching off side to side. After this one, I'm showing you the forward kettlebell lunge by walking. So just like I did my warm-up with forward lunges, this is a forward kettlebell lunge. So you're just going to be holding this kettlebell, which is adding weight to your body, and just doing these lunges. So now I'm putting on these ankle weights. So since before with the upper body exercise, we were putting the ankle weights on our wrists, right? But now, since we're doing a lower body exercise, we're going to put these on our ankles. So when we do the lunges, we have that ankle weight. So when we come back up, we have to come back up from that weight. At this point, I'm just used to having these ankle weights. They make me feel like a gym guru. But with these forward kettlebells, remember to keep your head forward, keep your shoulders straight. I can see a little bit of side tilt. You want to make sure they stay neutral and looking forward. All right, so now we're going to be transitioning into the next modality, which is exercise modality 5, and I will be utilizing the battle rope exercise. So the battle rope is a very heavy, thick rope that you will see at gyms, but this is the only rope that I had, so I had to make use with what I have. Sometimes as the person doing the workouts, you know that you're not going to always have the equipment. You have to adjust and be innovative where you can. I learned this in my musculoskeletal rehabilitation class, that as a clinician, which you could be giving the strength and conditioning workout as well as a physical therapist, that you wear different hats as the clinician, as a problem solver. So you need to change the exercises whenever you can. You have to be a problem solver. With that, you have to be an educator, the do's and the don'ts, the contraindications, the indications. You have to be the innovator, so the equipment with what you have. So this is what I'm doing with this. I like to perform in my own gym than a public gym, because it gives you more space to do what you want. The first variation I showed you was alternating waves for the battle rope, since I'm doing the battle rope arm exercise and my upper body exercise. So the first variation was alternating waves with battle rope. So your feet and hip are distance apart, and you hinge at the hips, and you're going to bend at knees. Don't lock them. You're going to squat a little and then up and down motion while you're pulling the rope back. So, and then to make this even harder, I just added the weights to this. And as I mentioned before, you want to have like a nice pose where your back's, straight, not straight up necessarily to the sky, but straight as in like a linear, where my butt is, or my gluteus maximus is up to like my cervical area. This next variation that I'm demonstrating is the power slam for battle rope. You come up to fully extend the body while bringing the rope up with you and down in a fixed position. And you got to hear the hard boom, the slam down to the ground. That's how you know you're really getting those powerful movements down to the ground. And you don't do these fast, like the alternating ones. You don't just go bam, bam, bam. No, you want to do these slowly and controlled. Well, not too slow, but you have to have these controlled motions and then slap. Okay, take a moment. All right, raise them back up, slam down. So I want to make sure that every slam that you put down is explosive, because this is an upper body exercise for your arms with the bicep area. So I'm just putting on the weights, and then this makes it harder because you're adding weight to it. And then you want to make sure that you're not locking your knees, that you're keeping your arms in a good position. You want to keep your shoulders, make sure they're neutral. You don't want to have like one side slouching. Definitely don't want to have a hunchback, because again, like another exercise, you shouldn't have back pain here. If you do, something needs to be readjusted because you're not doing it correctly. See, chest out. You want to have your legs in a good position. Your feet are distance apart, just like your shoulder is. And then this is where we're going into the third variation, which is side to side waves for a battle rope. This is really good for your arms and your core. And look, you don't want to be going fast side to side to side. See, like that. You don't want to be going fast. well, you do want to be going fast, but you need to make sure that they are controlled, that you're not just like whipping it around. Your arms are going next to each other. You're not crossing them. That would be another variation. You could do like cross, just like how the alternating up and down. You could do like the alternating side to side, which would be another variation that would be really interesting to do. Wish I would have done that. But now what I'm doing now is adding these weights over to my wrists, which will add a weight and make it harder, because now I'm adding my weight to my arms. Remember to keep like that back straight to your gluteus maximus. My knees are a little bent. You don't want them too bent, which, I mean, you can go down a little bit more. It is going to be more of like a lower, it will be slightly an lower body exercise, but this way, these bent knees, it just helps you have like a controlled motion. You don't want to be swinging your body too much. The point of it is the upper body. So I was swinging my body a little bit too much. So I would have her adjust herself with that. And then we're going to be transitioning into the lower body exercise. So it's squat battle rope exercise. So we're going to be like squats with lower body. So just like the slams that we were doing previously, the power slams, we're going to be doing squat jump to slam. So you're going to bend down like a squat. And then as you raise up, you're going to raise that rope and then back down and hear that boom, slam as you come down. So as you're going to slam together. So your feet are kind of slamming to the ground, but so is that rope. And trust me, that rope is loud when you have those battle ropes. It should be thicker, but again, I did with what I made do with what I had in equipment. But to make this a harder exercise, I think that this is a really good demonstration of having these ankle weights on you, because this one, since you're powering and you're jumping off the ground, these weights it's gonna be harder with these additional weights, because this time you're pushing off the ground and you're working against gravity and going straight up. And so this is the squat jump to slam, and I'm going to take these off. That's a variation of the squat jump to slam, like with and without the weights, with the additional weights. And then I'm going to be going into the split squat to slam, which you've seen the split before. But this time when I'm holding the rope, I'm going to be doing that split squat. Remember, this is a split squat, not a lunge. But I'm doing slow and controlled movements. Slow and controlled. Slow and controlled. I want to make sure my head stays up. I don't want to have a hunch back. I don't want my knees to be touching the ground, because that defeats the purpose. And also, you can really hurt your knees, maybe even shatter your patella, which you definitely want to do. It's super painful. You have to protect that patella. So, I mean, if you really want, like for beginners who aren't really comfortable with this and feel like they touch the knee a lot, have, knee pads. It never hurts to have those. You rather be safe than sorry. After these split squats to Sam, which are going to be doing the 3 sets of 10 repetitions. And then I'm going to be doing the single leg lateral jump to slam. So we're still going to be utilizing this slam. You want to keep 1 foot raised while you jump laterally. So here I am doing it's kind of like referred as a skater jump, but here I'm calling it a lateral jump to slam. So you're doing side to side, but you're also slamming. To make this harder, as you can see here, I'm adding in the weights. So I'm adding in those weights. It's going to make it a little bit harder to do these, especially with having to balance off one leg. I think that this will be harder. So I have the rope in hand. I'm going to slam and then land a lateral jump. Slam, lateral jump. Lateral jump, slam. Lateral jump, slam. Lateral jump, slam. So here, it's okay to go slow. You definitely want to make sure your technique is right. Okay, now I'm showing you these resistance bands. So yes, you guessed it. The next modality is, of course, rubber band exercises. So here I'm just showing these rubber bands. They can be small and they can be like short, and they can be really long depending on which position you're in, whether it's supine, standing, seated, with these. So the exercise that I chose is the tricep overhead extension exercise. So the first variation I'm going to be doing is here as I'm demonstrating. I'm going to work out my tricep area. First variation will be the double arm triceps overhead extension. So I'm going to have these resistance bands, and you see how my arms are out? I should not have my arms out like that. You want to have your arms in a 90-degree angle from a lateral view, have them straight. Here, I'm getting coached that you need to pull them in more. So here, looking a lot better. It could be improved more, but a lot better than what I saw before. You don't want to have your elbows out, but it's okay. In a program, as long as you get corrected, that's the whole point of this. Here, I got corrected. And sometimes it's good to record yourself so you see what you can improve on and what you did wrong. The important thing of a program is that if you do make a mistake, you don't do it again. You make sure that you're being safe. So this double arm overhead extension exercise, this works out your triceps breaker eye, and you hold the band on both hands. You extend your arm straight above you or like to behind you, and you create sort of a 90-degree angle at one point when you come down. So you're making like a beautiful arc. And then this one, we're going into the second variation, the single arm tricep extension with your hands placed behind your back, so it's not in your way, and you're holding onto the resistance band with one arm. You extend one arm out with the band, but the other arm stays in place. And then you're gonna switch arms to working them out. Again, the knees, sometimes elbows are going a little bit outwards. If I could go back, I would be touching and fixing it, but I am my own coach today. But now I'm telling you, hey, for next time, make sure your elbows are in, because I see that one too. Elbows are out, need to be in. That's how you do it correctly. So I will adjust that next time I do this program. It's really important that you do these sides both equally, because you don't want to just work out one arm more than the other. And of course, it'll be easier with your dominant side, whichever that arm is. Here, I'm just creating like another variation with adding these weighted wrist/ankle weights. So I'm adding those on there when I'm going to do my single arm tricep extension with hands. And I didn't mention, but both of these, the double arm triceps overhead extension and the single arm triceps extension with your hands, will be the 4 sets of 8 repetitions. And as you can see here, I'm still doing it, and I'm doing it with these weighted things. I really like using these because they make it harder, and I definitely would feel my triceps burning. It will be easier with your dominant side, since naturally that muscle mass will be greater and it'll be stronger. So it's just important to pull beautifully up, and you want to have your arm extended out upwards. Just kind of go a little bit forward and gets a little crooked. This last variation of the upper body will be the alternating arms tricep overhead extension. So just like the first variation where you're doing the double arm overhead extension, this one you'll just do alternating. So not like the single one where you alternate between them, but this one you're going to be doing like boom, 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 switch, 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 switch. And you'll be doing that. It's important to keep those slow and controlled movements and keep them timely. You don't want to be doing like fast on one side and like kind of like getting slower to the other one just because you're not as strong on it. So you definitely want to be mindful of your position and like see elbows are going out again. It's really important that the elbows stay in and that the hands go a little bit more outward. So I definitely would change that if I could go back to that video. And then our next variation of this, if you really wanted to, that I created was doing the diagonal ones. They were a little harder to do, but I do like those diagonal. So then I'll be going into the lower body exercise, utilizing these resistance bands. So here I'm switching off into using the shorter resistance band because I'm putting it in between my legs. So the exercise I chose was the plank leg raises with resistance band. I love these lower body ones. I feel like I did better on these. But here I put the band at my thigh. And sorry, my legs cut out a little bit in the video, but you can see my other foot right up, so you know what I mean. But you're doing 3 sets of 10 repetitions. Oh, the alternating arms tricep overhead extension, and the diagonal one can be done with 4 sets of 10 repetitions. But then we're going into the plank leg raises, and these plank, the first variation is a plank single vertical leg raises, 3 sets of 10 repetitions. And the repetition is each left and right leg being raised vertically. So you're just raising it up in the air. And then here I'm telling you that you can make it harder by adding in the ankle / wrist weight. Because you're doing a lower body exercise, you would put it on your ankles and not your wrists, since that would defeat the purpose of it. To make this harder, you could add like a dumbbell over to your upper hand side, like to hold your positioning, but that just looks stronger for your core if you really wanted to. But this one is great for your legs. Same thing, you're just doing singles to your leg raises up in the air. This left leg is going a little bit outwards. I would tell her, hey, make sure you keep it straight, aligned with your body. You're going a little bit to the side, which is not what I intended. Now I am taking off the weights because we're going to transition into the next variation here, and that's going to be the plank alternating side or lateral leg raises. So I'm just moving them to the side and then raising them to the side. So this one's going to work out the side of my femur because I want to work out like different parts of my legs. So that's why I really like these plank leg raises, because I'm utilizing different areas of the lower body and the thigh area. So to make these harder, I think I added the weights in there, I believe. But just make sure that you stay focused and that you drink water as you go through your exercise to keep on with it. So I'm still doing the outer single vertical side lateral ones. And you want to be just keeping left and right side. Remember, you want to make sure that you're being even with what you're doing. You don't want to just do one side more than the other. This is another variation I added in that I really wanted to show. Just like those, like instead of just doing it side by side slowly and controlled, this is the kind of like the V-leg position plank, and you're jumping out. I just showed a quick clip of that because it was just an added variation that wasn't part of my plan, but I really wanted to include that because I enjoyed that one. This one I believe was the hardest variation of this whole exercise. It's a side plank leg raises with the resistance band. I found it very tough to do this, especially trying to keep like that plank in a good position where like I'm doing a straight line. Sometimes you can see my inside of my hip go in a little bit and dent, and you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you stay neutral. The side plank resistance band, I would do all of these with the one before the V leg, I would do 2 sets of 10 repetitions, and the side plank one I would do 2 sets of 10 repetitions as well, where each set is each side of the body. So you do 1 set of 10 repetitions for the left side, 1 set of 10 repetitions for the right side. To make this harder, which I thought was really harder, is adding in these ankle/wrist weights, because these ankle side leg raises, I need to stretch out my inner thigh, because that's who was having the most trouble in this. It really hurted, but as I mentioned before, it's important not to do it quick. You want to have slow and controlled movements, and you want to make sure that you're doing the technique correctly. So if like I was slouching in, I would tell myself, stop, take a breather, we need to reevaluate. You shouldn't have lower back pain in this one either, since this is just the band exercise. If you're having other pains besides the areas you're working out in, you should definitely ask your clinician or your athletic trainer about that. Okay, now this is the 8th part of the video, even though numbers don't really matter. This is the cool down segment of this, which will include like the final stretching in my video. So it's important that when you do a cool down that you do something, which I specifically did jump rope, or you could do another jog where you want to slow down your heart rate. At this point, we've been doing a lot of explosive exercises, like, like powerful, and you've really got our heart rate up there. So you don't want to just do straight stretching and sit down because your heart rate's still going fast. You have to have that transition where you want to lower that heart rate gradually. You don't want to just sit down. You never just want to sit down completely after you're having your heart raised up in this. Sorry, that's my dog in the background. But I did these crisscross jump ropes because I thought it was a great way where you're not raising your heartbeat by doing like quick jump ropes, because that would not be a cool down. That would rather be a warm up because it's raising your blood pressure. This was just a cool down because, every couple seconds I'm doing a jump, but not where I'm being super tired out. And I like doing these because they're simple, they're fun. This little crisscross reminds me of making like a butterfly. It's how I think of it to keep it. I'm like, crisscross butterfly jump, crisscross butterfly jump, and it helps me keep that timing on it because you don't want to be going too fast, because again, this is to gradually bring down your heart rate. Of course your heart rate will still be up because you're doing jumping and you're doing cardio, but it's not a strenuous exercise where if you were doing the jump ropes like jump 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 like in quick movements. This crisscross one is like to buy you time in between each jump, and it's a way you want to do these cool downs where you cool down all areas of body that were utilized in the whole program. So in this program, since we did upper body and lower body ones, we want our cool down to consist of stretching in like that areas of like the upper body and the lower body, since we did work about both of those areas. I'm doing these crisscross jump ropes for about 5 minutes, and there's different equipments of jump ropes you can use. I know there's like some like rope material. It's like better for kids just because like kind of like whiplash, where like if you hit yourself like on the back of your ankle or the front of your ankle, or since I'm doing the crisscross, shake your arms, it won't hurt as bad. But since like this is for high school or like / college, you are more familiar with working out, so you should know how to be using proper way to use a jump rope. So I'm using these elastic ones. They're really easy to pick off the floor, and they're bouncy, so it's really easy to do that crisscross one, and they do it beautifully with the rope. I feel like you'd have to be more obvious in your crisscrosses to try to keep that linear movement, because rope isn't as like stable as these elastic ones. But again, I'm just lowering my heart rate. I want to make sure I'm not moving around. I want to stay concentrated and move straight forward. I do kind of look down a little bit. It's a bad habit. I would tell myself, look up, have your chest out. You don't want to be hunched at all. Make sure that your feet are straight on the ground, and then use your tippy toes, your toes when you hop off the ground to do that jump. You don't have to go extremely high up. It's just enough where the rope can get under you safely and you're not going to trip. And if you do stumble upon yourself, which I do sometimes in this video, it's okay. Oh, like right now, it's okay. You can just readjust, check your surroundings. All right, go again. Crisscross, butterfly, jump. Crisscross, butterfly, and jump. So, as I mentioned before, it's important to have like the right workout attire. So I'm having these shoes, and I want to make sure I have shoes with good grip, because these jump ropes, I'm jumping off of them, and I don't want to be like slipping off the ground and having my hair tied up, because since I'm jumping here, you can't have like your hair in the face, and that will be very distracting and then hard to concentrate on. You don't want to be blowing your hair out of your face every like couple of seconds, which in a workout like the one that we did, it's bound to happen. But again, here I'm just continuing on with these crisscross. You could change the direction that you want to do. It doesn't have to be in the same direction. There's multiple ways to do these jump ropes. I just picked the crisscross one, but there's one where you could do like a skipping one. I know in the next video I do like a skipping jump rope one, which I like because it gives you pauses. To make this even longer, since I did this I'm doing this for 5 minutes, I would do, going back, I would split it between 2.5 each, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, where you do crisscross, but you do crisscross 4 times. So you do like 1 crisscross, butterfly, jump. So I would be hitting the ground, instead of just 2 times, I would do it 4 times. So 1, So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going into the next part of my cool down, which will be the knees to chest. I know I did these in the beginning, but the knees to chest I think are really important for stretching out that leg. It allows you to still keep walking, so you're slowing down that that heart rate, because we did a lot of workouts and that was strenuous on the body. So I'm just kidding. We didn't do those knees to chest. Those the knees to chest were part of the warm-up one. But now I'm doing the toe touch. I know you only see the beginning part of it, but I'm going to be seated on the floor, and I'm going to be doing this seated toe touch, and I'm going to hold this position for about like 30 seconds on each one, with my left and my right hand side. So with these toe touches, it's really important to not bend your knees while you're doing it. It can be very tough, especially if you're not very flexible, but it's important to try to keep that intact. You can do toe touches by standing or by sitting, but this one I'll be doing by sitting. And then I'm going to be doing the seated twist ones, which on each side. So each side you're going to hold it for about 30 seconds. So here I'm holding, this would technically be my right hand side or left hand side. I'm stretching out that leg, but you should do both sides. It's a way to just stretch out those muscles, since I have been working those out through this whole exercise with my lower body exercises. So again, you want to have this cool down, utilize the muscles that were the muscle groups that were used in your whole workout. So I'm going to be doing that on each side. I'm going to do the other side. I do find it easier to do it, well, just like you have a dominant side. I don't think necessarily one side is easier than the other. This exercise is pretty relatively easy, and I like the doing stretching in my cool down, because you want to stretch out those muscles, and stretching allows them to relax. And this will allow your muscles to loosen up and prevent any tears or strains in your muscles. During stretching, you can drink a little bit of water if necessary. I know I'm not right now, but yeah, stretching just helps you stretch out those legs, and you definitely don't want to be getting a tear or a strain, because whenever you do your next workout, you will feel it. You might not get necessarily strained after this next exercise, like your next workout, if you don't exercise this one time, but it could be chronic. Like, it can happen over time in these repetitive ways if you're not stretching. So it's really important to always stretch. Then I'm going to be doing the seated open leg, kind of like a V position of your legs. Stretch, toe touch. You're going to hold each side for about 30 seconds. This one's, I think, similar to the toe touch, where it's straight up in front of you, but this one's a seated V leg, which I think are harder to do because you're kind of twisting yourself on one side to be for your flexibility. So here I'm just doing the other side. I do find it easier to do it on my dominant side. I don't know if that's everybody, but my right hand side is definitely easier than my left. So this, I'm just stretching on my legs. It's important. I will be feeling it in my quads, but it's important that I keep my legs straight. I don't want to be bending them. This next one is an open leg V, so I still continue my legs being in a V position, but I'm stretching and putting the palm of my hands out as far as I can towards the middle of the ground, and like pulling it as, like, stretching it as far out as I can go. This will stretch out your inner thighs, and yeah, you just want to hold on to the ground as far as possible. Keep all your palm down on it. So then I'm going to be doing this next one. I wanted to include something with yoga in my cool down, because I think yoga is very relaxing, and it kind of implements these cool downs because it's low heart rate. You want to relax, which is why you have the whole low heart rate, because it's a relaxing maneuver. But it's kind of like if you were doing like an inchworm. You go gluteus maximus up in the air like a V, bring it back down, put your toes to the ground, and then you're going to slowly work your way up, kind of like you're smelling the flowers, like in the like moving out. So I'm gonna do it sideways so you can see in a lateral viewpoint. So you go up in a V, and then you're slowly gonna come down. Your knees touch the ground, your knees touch the ground. Then you're gonna slowly move up where your head's looking up, and you're gonna stretch it out. This one stretches your back and your legs too, but and your arms, because you're keeping them straight. You don't want to be bending your arms. The whole point is that it's a yoga stretch. It's called the up dog stretch, and